kind of just go through that. It's just a lot of really basic, inexpensive, easy, inexpensive, that's right down my alley, things to do in your home. So this is a great time of year, thank God the sun's finally out. You can take a walk around the home and really start examining and really looking and paying attention. I know it sounds so basic, but a lot of the things I'm going to talk about is just really basic stuff. If you really take a walk around your home and really examine the area of your home and look for penetrations in your home, you will find all kinds of ways to save money, because all those infiltration areas are costing you money. Either hot air is coming in your home, cold air is coming in your home in the wintertime, insects are coming in your home. So what this is it's a little checklist so that when you take your walk around the home, you can take a look at areas that need your attention. The first one is cracks where the door meets the frame. Sounds simple enough, right? But I can guarantee you, if you have a back door and a front door, one, if not both, is probably not properly weather stripped. And if it's not properly weather stripped, you're losing energy. So if you want to know how to tell without visually looking, seeing a gap there, there's all kinds of ways. One of the things is get a little stick of incense and just take it and run it up and down where the door meets the jamb. And you'll be able to see where the smoke goes. Obviously, if it just goes straight up, there's no leak. If it's blowing towards you or being sucked out, it's telling you that there's a gap. That's one way of finding out. Another way of finding out is, well, this is a pretty exciting Saturday night. Honey, you go outside, here's a piece of chalk, and I got a flashlight indoors. You do this all the time on Saturday night, don't you? You go all around the doors, go all around the windows, and when she sees light, all you got to do is take the chalk and mark it, because what that's doing is just telling you that there's light penetration, there's air penetration. So that's a good way to find out exactly where the gaps are. Joints between the frame and the exterior and interior walls. That's another place where there's air infiltration. The door sits nice in the jamb, but how's the jamb sit in the house, into the wall? So you got plaster maybe on the inside, maybe you got block on the outside, maybe you got brick. But if you got a gap there, certainly air finds its way. Same thing, stick of incense, you can see if there's a little bit of draft, anything along those lines. And if you have a draft there, all you got to do is use a little caulking. Get to the hardware store, you have all kinds of choices in caulking. You have latex caulking, silicone caulking, urethane caulkings, expensive caulking, not expensive caulking. The best caulking to use on the outside of your home, and I mean it is so much better than the other types of caulking, is use a urethane caulking. Urethane has the highest adhesion strength between mixed materials. Mixed materials means brick to wood, aluminum windows to brick, aluminum windows to wood siding or cement board siding. Urethane caulk, that is the best, that has the highest adhesion. Be careful with silicone. Everybody's been kind of programmed to think silicone's the best. It's very, very good. It has good adhesion. It's flexible. But 99% of all silicone is not paintable. So though you feel like you were doing a really good job that day, 2 years later when you're going back to paint the trim, because we never really finished the project, the paint won't stick. The paint won't stick. I heard that. It's true. It is true. So we almost got done, but we're stopping now, right? We don't want to finish anything. So the silicone, kind of stay away. There is silicone caulking out there that is paintable, but just go with the urethane, and urethane caulking is paintable. If it's budget, acrylic siliconized caulking. $1.50 a tube does a really good job, has good adhesion. It does have some flexibility to it. It is paintable. That's the stuff you see in all the big box ads. It's an acrylic siliconized caulking. That'll work fine too. Kind of back to the doors and the windows. I've only been talking for about 5 hours a day, so I kind of forget what I'm talking about. That's not unusual. Anyway, where the door hits the weather stripping, if you're seeing gaps, I said just go ahead and buy new weather stripping, which you can. I had a door at my home led from the kitchen to the garage, and when I looked, I knew there was a problem because I could see light outside, so that's never good. And it was really good weather stripping, and it was manufactured by the manufacturer of the door, and I just didn't want to screw around with it because it was doing a really good job outside of the last little bit. tried to adjust the door, couldn't really adjust the door, and I got some of the self-stick weather stripping that was not foam. Don't waste your money on the foam. You replace it next year. This was rubber, and I just put it right on top of the existing weather stripping. It did a great job. It had enough adhesion there to really bite to the existing weather stripping. I kind of want to bring that up because a lot of times you'll look and everything looks really good except for that last 4 or 5 inches, and that's a good way to solve that particular problem. The bottom of the door. So we've covered the door into the frame against the house, frame on the inside. Now the bottom of the door. This is the place everybody overlooks because you got bent over, right? You don't want to, I'm about easy. You don't want to work too hard. So again, the door sits in most cases on the threshold. A threshold is either a piece of metal or it's a piece of wood. There's either a metal little bubble seal or there's a vinyl seal. When the door closes, it seals the bottom of the door. Most of your thresholds today are aluminum with a rubberized insert. That rubberized insert lasts about 3 years, 2 years, depends how snug the door is. You just grind that thing, grind it and grind it and grind it. Guys will look and say, well, you don't need to replace that, honey, it's all right. Most break. But anyway, that's very easily replaced. There's about 10 different sizes. Pulls off very easy. You just take it, it snaps into a channel, and just pull it out. Take it to the hardware store. There's about 10 different configurations that actually fit into that channel of that weather stripping, or of that threshold. So take it to the hardware store, make sure you get the right one. It just slides in pretty easy. Not done yet. At the bottom of the threshold sits on either concrete or wood, or depending on how your house is built. So the actual concrete, or the threshold sits here, the door closes on top of this. At the very bottom of that threshold, the aluminum ones actually have underneath it a little rubber seal. It looks like screen spline. Nobody's going to take the threshold off to replace the screen spline. But what you could do is, again, taking a little urethane caulk, just go ahead and caulk that tightly. I always leave the corner open, just in case something is broken above that door. Piece of mortar's missing, siding is cracked, something has failed up there so that water gets behind it. When it works down, it works down, it works down. If you trap it all the way underneath that threshold, it could work its way into the house, so that's not real good. So when I seal it, I'll seal it to about maybe a ½ inch on each side. So I kind of create my own little drain holes. Okay, so that's a couple things you want to pay attention to there. Doors and windows, like I said, I've been using this checklist for 25 years, so it's even dated because there's not many glazed windows, though some of us still have older windows that have the glazing. Obviously, you want to make sure all the windows are glazed properly, fitted properly. If they're broken, replaced. Seems like it goes without saying, but some of the newer windows we have problems when the seal breaks, and they're there's moisture. I've seen that. They're foggy. There's moisture inside the window. Looks terrible. An excuse for the guys, honey, we don't need that to replace it. It hasn't lost too much energy efficiency. True. Honey, it looks ugly. Also true. Not too many people replace those, or fix those, I should say. If you went to fix them, you could probably find somebody to replace that for about $150. They'll replace the whole panel. The only problem with that is the panel they replace it with is probably not that energy efficient, probably not that good quality of glass. Probably better off in the long term of replacing the window. So, yeah, sorry. The window seals nowadays are warranted for at least 20 years. The first generation of replacement windows, maybe 20, 30 years ago, usually were warranted about 5 years. So seal failure is relatively common. There is a way to fix them, but way too much work for the benefit, to be honest with you. So I would replace the window. Or if you can find somebody to replace that inset at a good value, a good price, then I would do that. couple things going back to the door weather stripping. If you do buy door weather stripping, and a lot of these things, like I said, common sense, but they're also projects you can do for $10. And I do a lot of seminars for the first-time homeowners at Habitat for Humanity. And I always tell them that $5 repair becomes a $50 repair, becomes the $500 repair, becomes the $5,000 repair. So you really can't ignore it. And a classic example is just some of the things we just talked about. The air penetration by the door, by the jamb, by the brick, the threshold at the bottom. We've always talked about moisture being the #1 culprit, damager to any home. Moisture gets into those areas because you didn't take the time to do the maintenance around that door. Water gets underneath, it starts discoloring the wood floor, it rots out the subfloor, and again, it's the $5 repair, the $50 repair, the $500 repair. So do walk around the house and do pay attention to what's going on there.